Okay, thank you. Morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. My name is Emihle Mali, and today I'll be presenting to you my study titled Assessing the Performance of Water Efficiency Measures Implemented in Guest Houses in Gqeberha. So, as a guest in a hotel, have you ever thought about your water consumption while showering or just doing any activity that requires water? If your answer is yes, what have you done to reduce your water consumption? And if your answer is no, what can convince you to use water in a sustainable way? And if for hotel managers, what can you put in place to decrease water consumption, particularly in a water scarce area such as Gqeberha? Now, I want to move on to the importance of water. Water is a critical resource for sustaining life, ecosystems, and human well-being. Without water, there is no life. Its importance is multifaceted and can be linked to various sustainable development goals, which are a set of 17 goals adopted by the United Nations to address various challenges and promote sustainable development by 2030. So, several of those SDGs address water-related challenges. For example, SDG 13, which is climate action, which highlights the contribution of sustainable water management to climate resistance, as well as SDG 6, which is clean water and sanitation, which directly focuses on ensuring access to clean water and sanitation and addressing water scarcity and quality. So, what does our literature say about tourism and guest houses in general? Small, medium-sized tourist accommodations are primarily profit-driven and often lack a proactive adoption of sustainable practices until they are faced with economic consequences such as drought. It is evident in a research that was conducted in the Western Cape during the 2015 to 2018 drought, which revealed that guest houses only started implementing sustainable water practices when there was a drought as well as threats to water availability. Additionally, they do not perceive the necessity to uptake sustainability as they believe their impact is small, which leads to them to spend less time and effort on sustainable practices. And then their poor engagement in sustainability highlights the need for guesthouse owners to take responsibility for their actions. And then previous studies focusing on water efficiency, resource consumption, and environmental performance have focused on large hotels, and studies on guest houses on these topics are very much limited. This becomes a problem because the hospitality industry is dominated by small, medium-sized enterprises such as guest houses. So, research on guest houses cannot be ignored. Therefore, this paper lies to bridge the gap and expand knowledge within the small research niche of guest houses in South Africa. And it is intended to make guest house owners aware of the environmental impact and encourage them to engage more in sustainability. So to bridge the gaps, the objectives of this study were to assess the overall performance of water efficiency measures in reducing water consumption, and to also assess the cost benefits and savings resulting from water efficiency measures in guest houses. And then just to explain a little bit about my methodology. So I used the research onion by Saunders to select suitable methodology for the research. So I used semi-structured interviews to collect the personal experiences of guest houses regarding their water efficiency and their performance, and the data collected was interpreted to find narratives within the data. The process that was used to finding the results were, so I had a total of 7 semi-structured interviews from which 4 themes were identified, and these are the themes of which I'll further discuss next. So theme 1 was the importance of an uninterrupted supply of water. From the results, it is evident that satisfying the needs of guests and providing them with a reliable water supply was important to the guest. As participant 3 has said, our only concern was to ensure that we could supply a service to our guests. Everything we've supplied or put in place has been towards satisfying the needs of our customers. Guest houses are reliant on water to provide services to their customers, and their water scarcity in Gqeberha threatened their ability to do so. And in response to the threat, they started adopting various water efficiency measures. An uninterrupted supply of water is crucial for guest houses, as it ensures a seamless and satisfactory guest experience, contributing to overall customer satisfaction and the success of the guest house. And one important benefit to the house owners was the peace of mind of knowing that they have a consistent supply of water. What this theme highlighted was that the most important thing the participants wanted to address was the possibility that water might run out. And finding alternative water supplies, such as rainwater harvesting, was very good for their operation and profitability. These findings coincide with two studies that were conducted by Daenerys and Popey, who found that droughts act as drivers to the adoption of resource conservation measures by the hospitality industry, and that hotels require an adequate supply of water to maintain profitability and operations. And then this is theme 2, which was effective water management. The practice of regular water readings was a common practice from all the participants. They read their water meters daily so that they'll be able to know how much water is being used, and it was also an effective way of checking leaks, such as participant 2 has said, every day I read the water meter so that I am knowledgeable of how much water we are using according to how many guests. And if I notice that guests are overusing, then I speak to them. But a key reason for reading the meter is to check that there are no leaks. The participants are practicing very effective water management and have been able to address areas where there's overconsumption, and in such a case, they would speak to the guests so that they would reduce their water consumption. Despite this exercise of regularly reading water meters, the participants showed that they find it very difficult to measure water usage, and they barely measure their performance, such as participant 3 who said, I would have to do an exercise to see if we are saving, of which I haven't done. They also expressed the inconsistency within the guest house turnover, which makes it hard to quantify. And then which comes to the problem identified in the results, which are that guest house owners do not assess the performance of their water efficiency measures, and there is a lack of benchmarking. The difficulty measuring water consumption is similar to a study by Regini, who found that although water consumption in guest rooms is related to hotel occupancy, it is rather difficult to predict the exact amount of water used. And then this is the third theme that was identified, which is effective greywater recycling and reusing. The effective greywater recycling is a best practice that was found common among the guest houses in their laundry operations. So firstly, the water that they used in the laundry came solely from the rainwater tanks, and they did not use any municipal water in their laundry operation. This exercise has helped them in reducing water consumption and relieving the reliance on the municipal water supply. So, and as participant 4 has said, we have a big laundry on site, so our laundry uses a lot of water, and it's the reality of the business. And then participant 2 further states that our rainwater harvesting is strictly for our laundry. And then for the recycling and reusing, that was very common. It was that which is further stamped by participant 4. They said that every drop of water that comes out of our laundry waters the garden. We don't use any municipal water for our garden. And then the last theme, which is theme 4, is the costs of implementing water efficiency measures. So the initial investments for water efficiency measures are rather high, but in the long run, these measures are able to pay back themselves because reduced water consumption will equal to savings. And then, for example, participant 2 has achieved water savings of around about 500 per month, and participant 6 has been able to recoup all their money back. And then the guest house owners expressed a very positive view on the financial aspect of saving water. As participant 3 has said, saving water is not an expensive exercise. And then just to read some of the quotes, for example, participant 4 said that they haven't felt any of the increases in their water consumption, and then the water bills have stayed plateaued. And then just to summarize the findings, the primary concern for the guest house owners was to safeguard water availability to maintain operations and profitability. While addressing environmental issues was important, their main goal was to ensure a reliable water supply. Practices of regular water monitoring showed their dedication to effective water management, and the wastewater recycling showed a very holistic approach to resource conservation. And additionally, the results showcased the lack of water usage performance assessments and benchmarking. And then from the results, there are certain alignments with certain SDGs. For example, SDG 6, which is clean water and sanitation, and SDG 11, sustainable cities and communities, as well as SDG 12. So just to explain a little bit about SDG 6, which is the clean water and sanitation, its objective is just to ensure availability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. And then the guest house owners' efforts to secure a continuous water supply through rainwater harvesting directly contributed to addressing the water scarcity in Gqeberha, and it aligns with the goals of SDG 6. And then the effective water management relates to water use efficiency, which is an objective within SDG 6, and sustainable water management. Additionally, sustainable SDG 11, which is sustainable cities and communities, aligns with the efforts of the guest house owners in lessening the burden on the local municipal supply of water by using rainwater harvesting for their laundry operations. And then SDG 12, which is responsible consumption. So the guest house owners recycling their wastewater and making sure guests are aware of water consumption aligns well with SDG 12. So the recommendations to the guest houses. So just to reduce their water consumption, guest houses can look at technologies such as air-powered shower heads. So these shower heads offer sustainable showers that use 5 liters of water per minute, which is regarded a very good practice by the World Health Organization, which says that a very good practice is 6 to around about 10 liters of water per minute, the flow rate. And the air-powered shower heads can provide 50 to 60% savings on water consumption as well as energy consumption by decreasing the energy load, so the amount of hot water that is demanded, as well as it can reduce water consumption because it just uses air to produce little droplets, and it just controls the whole pressure of the water. And then lower consumption will basically lead to cost savings for the guest house owners. And then researchers in these areas should just look at developing imperial benchmarks so that guest houses that are very tailored to guest houses. So guest houses will be able to just look at their best practices as well as just compare some of their practice with others. So external benchmarking, so they can see, oh, I can improve here or I can improve there, right? And then guest house owners really had a problem of just not being able to measure their water consumption. So why don't they just use automated water usage monitoring systems? So it will just take out the effort of them, just any human involvement. So they won't have to just do it themselves. And then these automated systems will just have all the data in real time on their phones or laptops or just any device that's connected to the internet. And it will just make things easier for the guest house owners. So then in closing, I just wanted to say that we all need to play our part and take responsibility for our actions, as we only have one planet with finite resources, and it is our duty to preserve and conserve our environment so that future generations will be able to use it and enjoy it. Thank you very much for listening to me.